Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying what you are hearing. Now, on to today's story. Online Journal Day 14.9. Hot pot heals all? Valentine's Day was not like I'd have wanted. I was contacted by my wife, and instead of reading it I deleted it. Though I followed that up by sending her a message saying, all I need from her is her patience. It was a rocky morning, I didn't feel very good when I woke up. Nightmare stayed with me. I went and sat in the whirlpool with some Epsom salt and listened to an album I haven't in a long time, Sting's Mercury Falling. Shit was just hitting me. Poppy, the only dog in the world who likes sitting in the water as much as me, joined me halfway through. Just popped his ass right in the big tub and laid there on across my lap. Very awkward when naked, but I'm actually used to it. I used to bath with him, when he was a puppy. I too have a habit of falling asleep in the big tub. I wake up when I hear someone come back in the house. I was pretty sure it wasn't my parents, they'd gone off on Dad's boat I think. I found out it was Paris when she knocked on the door while I was blow drying Poppy. Once he's in the water, it means you gotta do a lot of cleaning, especially in the whirlpool. I got it clogged once when I was younger, like 15. He's a husky/malamute mix, so there is a lot of grooming. He sheds a lot. Paris let me know breakfast was ready, but it was almost like noon. Like 11:40 or something. I'm not a breakfast guy when I can get lunch, but I was pleasantly surprised because she made eggs Benedict and shit. I haven't had that since I was little. I actually taught her how to make this when we were younger. I have to admit I smiled even though she ducked up the kitchen badly and looking at my keys on the counter. I'm guessing she took my car without asking. This is a real pet peeve of mine, people touching my stuff. But I think more of me really wanting to eat, and not be fighting. I just let that go. I'd already taken my glipizide, so duck it. She got another text and clicked it off. Turned it over. I'd noticed she'd been doing that, so I got curious. I asked if her boyfriend was calling. She said she didn't have a boyfriend anymore. But I didn't really want to get baited into that. She said she'd gone on a few dates with some guy, but they liked London better, until London dumped them for Chad. I didn't want to pull the pin on that grenade, so I didn't say nothing but nod. I talked about the food. Told her she did a great job. The hollandaise sauce was not too thick and the lemon didn't overpower, though. She topped it with tarragon instead of chives. But honestly, wasn't that bad. The egg was the best, nice and runny, not at all solid. Steamy hot, and the ham was great. She perked up at that and told me she'd been at it for a little bit, and messed up a few times. Looking at the garbage, I could tell. When her phone rang again I grabbed it. Was tired of it ringing and was about to give London a piece of my mind. But douchebag Chad was on the other line. He started talking about how he knew she was upset with London, but it's bad to spend the holiday alone with those people. He invited her to come out with them and some friend, to which I answered. Hi Chad, this is one of those people. You know, the big angry one. Yeah, if you disturb my cousin again I'm gonna drive over there and punch you in the dick. He started blubbering and shit, and then asked to speak to Paris but I refused and asked him if he understood me. I told him to ask London if he thinks I won't do it. I then hung up on him and handed Paris back her phone. She thanked me looking all embarrassed, but I stopped her. I told her I didn't want to know what that was all about, but I'm not in a good mood, so if Chad calls again to tell me so I can release some stress at his expense. She looked a bit off-put, but nodded and we went about our meal. Nothing was said for a bit and I checked Poppy to see if he was good to go out on the trail. To be honest I wanted to be alone with my dog. But Paris had made me breakfast and I'm sure I'd be too tempted to call or text Amy if I were left to my own devices. And it's stupid to walk through the woods without your phone. So I invited her to come with me under the condition that she does not talk to me. She agreed and I got her Danny's parka cause her little white girl coat wasn't going to cut it. Of course she couldn't keep her condition and started talking to me almost immediately. Oddly enough, the woman has more tact than I gave her credit for. Didn't bring up the morning. Didn't bring up Amy directly, didn't say nothing stupid. Instead asked me if I was going to be okay and if I wasn't feeling okay cause I was her on my own. I was non-committal with my answers and I waited till she got around to asking me about what I knew she really wanted to talk about. She asked if I think my uncle would forgive her. She said she didn't need the money, she had been saving 30% of her allowance, so she has a lot of money saved up she hides from London. Which surprised me. I asked her since when, she said since she was little and my dad took us with Uncle Brad to open up our first bank accounts at Chase. It's something I did because that's what Grandma Daniela had always taught me. Granny Danny did not like Paris and London either, but she was always really good to them. She said she remembered and had always thought it was good advice. I asked her why she cares now. I asked why does everyone care after people are fed up. She said that they care before, but they always think there's time. I told her people are under a false impression that tomorrow is owed to them, and it was not. People aren't sorry until they feel pain and loss, and she was feeling the loss of her spoiled lifestyle. She surprised me when she agreed. She said she had been spoiled and that she was still spoiled. She didn't really know how to change overnight. She told me you never think you're being a bitch while you're doing it. You always seem right and justified. When you start seeing it, start feeling it, you pretend everything's okay cause you don't want to think about what a piece of shit you are. She then told me she really hated her real father and she didn't know why London didn't. He had done things to them. Let things happen to them. I told her I knew, but I really didn't. And I didn't want to. But she told me anyway, and I was really, really disgusted. She said London remembers things differently, won't even talk about how her dad used to touch them, and let his friends touch them for money and drugs. Apparently London talked about the stuff like their dad was an innocent bystander and his friends did the stuff behind his back, which wasn't true. That she hated him and was still upset with her mom for not believing her when they were young. I asked if Uncle Brad knew. She said no. I didn't have to ask why. He'd be in jail for murder if he did know. Which kind of made me angry. If she knew that, she knew how much he cared about her. All that bullshit about him buying they love or not sticking around seems stupid. You knew this man would go dragon if he knew. Especially since Joyce still lets him come around. She said everyone acts like it didn't happen, but she's appalled that London still likes to play daddy's girl. I reiterated that she didn't deserve my uncle and that he wasted all of those years trying to be good to her and she was selfish and ungrateful. She agreed with me and apologized because I always felt like she and her sister had taken him from us. I told her it wasn't a feeling, it's what happened. She apologized again and started crying, saying she just wanted a chance to put it right. She was working on it with Uncle Brad, but London keeps making that hard and she can't seem to get people to treat her and London like they are individuals. I point out this is because she spent her entire life as London's lackey, but she was upset about that. Finally I asked her what any of it had to do with me. I told her I'm not a substitute for my uncle. If you ask him for forgiveness and show you're trying, he will forgive you. He believes in all that cheerful giver nonsense. She asked if I was sure, and I told her he probably won't keep paying for her lifestyle, but she would be forgiven. She claimed she didn't care about that, she just wanted her dad back. I asked what did London think and she looked annoyed and told me she didn't care. I ask why she's hanging around me then, and she says she misses when we're friends. I ask her when this was and she remarks about times when we were younger, and I remind her that I'm just doing my job as a man in this family. We look out. We provide when we can. But I ain't nobody's doormat. And she tells me she wants to be forgiven by me just as much. I told her that I'm not a soft touch and I don't actually want to forgive her. She said she knows, but she wants to be there for me like I had been there for her. I wanted to get angry, but I just told her that the time for that was a while ago. When we were back in the house, she went away for like an hour and then came back and asked if I still had Tales of Vesperia on my Xbox and if I would play with her again. We never beat it. I decided to fish it out, cause that was actually a good memory, and we played until dinner. My wife texted me a few times over the day, but I ignored it, and then we went to this hot pot place in West Alice. This guy had a camera, a real-to-life camera, and was taking pictures of the couples, and Paris wanted a picture. I made a face, but she posed and got the Polaroid. I'm 100% surprised cameras like that still exist. Despite the dubious company, the food was ducking fantastic. 10 out of 10 would go again. Goddamn hot pot is now one of my favorite things in the history of ever. I paid for it a little when we got back home. I was in the bathroom with the switch for a while. I forgot what it was like to never shit alone. Poppy just chilling at my feet like some fuzzy foot warmer while the metformin goes through my system. It wasn't as pleasant going out as it was coming in. But that just means I need to get back to exercising. When I came out, Paris was just chilling in my room, playing with my arcade. I got one of them old school cabinets with name on it. She was playing Garu, Mark of the Wolves. I had her teach her how to play that too. This I did ask her if she wanted to play, cause you can't turn that on and not catch these hands, or since I use Kim Jae-hoon, these feet. We kept playing and she thanked me. This was a better Valentine's Day than she'd had with any of her boyfriends, and she was sorry I couldn't spend it with my wife. At that point I wasn't really willing to break up the good mood I was in. Nobody played Garu with me in years, so I just told her it was cool. Amy chose to be alone on Valentine's Day. And I'll manage. She hugged me and said that she was really sorry about everything and really did miss me being like a big brother to her. I told her that you appreciate things when they are gone, and that the person she remembers is long dead. She asked me if the person I was now could at least let her hang out with him. I told her I didn't know, but I didn't kick her out of my room, and when she fell asleep on the bed, I tucked her in and went downstairs to play bot till I passed out. If I'm being honest, the day wasn't all that bad. But it still feels like shit when I am alone with my thoughts. But I'll deal with it all, the anguish, the dream, the company. All of it is worth it because I discovered hot pot. I feel like everything before this day was hell, and hot pot is the holy cross. I'm definitely going back soon as I can. I'm glad the day was relatively drama-free. Hope tomorrow will be a better one. Tomorrow is my second therapy session. Hopefully I'll get to address why I'm in therapy in the first place. Online Journal Day 16. Procrastination Station. So, I was supposed to write about this a while ago, but I had been procrastinating. So, we'll start with the package. Apparently I got a package from my wife the day before Valentine's Day. My mom put it in her room because she didn't think I would want to open it. I didn't, and I have to thank my mom. She's a pretty smart lady. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm very curious about it. It was on my mind when I went to my second therapy session. The lady asked more questions, and seemed to want to focus on me some more. A lot of. And when I brought up anything anyone else did, she would ask something like how it made me feel. Why did I think they did that, or what would I do differently in their shoes? We talked about my wife and the situation, and she spent a good 10 minutes on why I was not upset about her and Mimi doing anything, but was somehow offended that Buff Doug was around. Or if that she filmed. I asked her what she thought, but every time I asked her a question it was like talking to a lawyer. She deflected it back to me or flat out told me that it wasn't about her opinion at that point. I guess my problem is that I had a mental approval of her and Mimi. It had happened before, I was a part of it. I had thought about it before. I might have maybe fantasized about it. The idea of them in my head was most likely a fantasy of mine, and so I wasn't really shocked or upset about the act, just the deception. I would let you have some of my cake, but I'm pissed if you don't ask me and eat the cake and then hide the plate and lie to me about having some. She asked me what about the situation bothered me the most. She asked me to prioritize my offense. And we talked about why I felt that way and what I thought Amy believed or thought in those moments. I was a little annoyed and kept answering I don't know. But she told me one of the biggest hurdles to coming to grips with people's actions is how we perceive their thought process and motivation. As an example, she says that some people believe their spouses and AP spend the time laughing or talking about how they are fooling and betraying them. How every time their so smiles or laughs, they're thinking about how foolish they are and how they are getting one over on them. She says those are dangerous thoughts to have and some people cannot heal while holding on to that perception. We talked about how I felt and what I thought I was going to get out of therapy. I said many things and set many goals, but she was vague on whether or not she thought I could achieve them. She did say however that this isn't going to be an easy role and she can't sell me absolution, or whatever. She told me I have to be willing to take a long look at myself and my situation and find a way to move forward positively, while being realistic about my life. She said I had to accept that what I know as normal is gone forever. She can't help me get things back to normal. She can help me be better prepared to adapt to the changing circumstances in a positive and healthy manner. She asked me if I talked to my spouse or would consider bringing her in when I'm ready. I told her no both times and she smiled and said we'll see for the future. She made no suggestions on what I should do in the meantime, and I didn't get to talk to her about my dream. When I got home, Brianna was there with Paris. Uncle Brad and Dad were chilling in the den and Aunt Joyce pulled me aside and wanted to talk to me. She thanked me for putting up with Paris and says that she's happy to see us getting along. I didn't want to argue with her. Had enough on my plate, so I just accepted the thank you and asked her about her ex. She looked really shocked. I asked, I'd never taken an interest before, so I could see why she was surprised. I told her London and Paris seemed to be having issues and Joyce downplayed it, saying that they were always competing for the same boys and that they needed to leave that kind of thing behind in their childhood. She made a remark about Chad, but I shook my head. I knew it was bigger than that, but it wasn't my place to get involved. Instead I said that Paris can stay until my mom got sick of her. And Auntie hugged me again. Brianna took me aside and thanked me too. Not on Paris' behalf, but for putting up with her. I told her Paris said she wanted to make amends. Or at least that's what she claimed, and Brianna asked me if I really believed that. I told her I believe she'll do whatever it is as long as it's beneficial to her. I pried about what she was doing with Brianna, and Brianna admitted that Paris was trying, but she still finds it hard to believe her. Though she surprised me when she said that she hoped it was genuine. She still wanted a good relationship with her sisters even after all the crap they put her through. Girl's a little champion. She then told me she's jealous she gets to hang out with me and play my games and stuff. Brianna has always been interested in video games, though she plays shit like Minecraft and Fortnite. Never got into that. Shit was decent for that day. Had custom sandwiches for dinner. Dad bought multigrain rolls and Boar's Head brand meat. Let me tell you, that Chipotle chicken is the bomb. Had mine with field greens, spinach, olive oil mayo, pickles, aged Swiss, and alfalfa sprouts drizzled with flavored olive oil and some balsamic. Good eating. Rest of the night was pretty good. Brianna and Paris played that Switch exercise RPG with the ring. It's a lot more intense than I thought. And Paris has basically moved into the guest room, though she spends all day where I am. Worst part of the day is that Brianna fed Poppy something before I got there. She denies it, but she's always slipping him food. He's had the shits and has stayed on the patio all day. He knows when he has to go and he will bark, which once he did 3 times in an hour. He calmed down after a while. But it was really bad for a bit. No, I didn't just talk to you. No, I do not work here. Triple XL. Edited because I got a message about my atrocious grammar, so the story goes like this: I'm asked to go get some groceries. I tend to shop at Wood Guys. It's a nice big store, great service, great variety. I take my cousin Paris with me because she needs a few things. Now, an important thing to note is that I am 6 feet 3 inches and black. My cousin Paris is not. She is as white as the snow-capped peaks of the mountains of Caucasus. Paris is not her real name, but she is named after a place like that, and so is her sister. Paris has baby blue eyes, platinum blonde hair, dimples, and looks like someone fused Billie Eilish and Phoebe Cates together and made them Snow White. I'll admit that she's really pretty, which is actually relevant to the story. She is my uncle's stepdaughter and has been hanging around me a lot since I got back in town. Now everything's going well. I grab me some mucingers, spend some time staring forlornly in the ramen aisle, go check and get some meats, both real and fake, and just generally minding my own business. Paris and I split up, because she was asking me some uncomfortable questions about feminine products, and as mature as I believe I am, that's no man's land, and only my wife is gonna get me to listen to you talk about that stuff. So, I head off to make some life and health decisions about some chips. I want to get flamin' hot Doritos, maybe get some Rico's nacho cheese. Get you some chorizo, some chunky salsa, and some ground beef, and you've got something, but that's a very serious bathroom visit later in the day. Especially for me. Do I wanna risk the holy hell I'm gonna feel if I go that route? I'm very serious in consideration. This is why I probably didn't hear this lady when she called me the first couple of times. I only notice her when she walks up. She was white, middle-aged, and dressed like she was 20. Not a good look. I remember scoffing at her brand new Buccaneers jersey, but she had on a Patriots coat, and booty shorts. The jersey was one of those ones that show midriff, and I have to admit she didn't really look like she took care of her skin. I also have a problem with people who dress cute when it's cold. I'm thinking all kinds of negative stuff from the start. She couldn't be more offensive unless she was rocking a Kevin King jersey. She starts up with the, "Are you gonna help me or not?" Very rude tone. Hands on the hips, animated, that whole neck shaking thing. I'm like, huh? So she starts listing things, saying she asked for this and that, and for me to go see where the butcher was. He apparently wasn't at his post. I was confused and asked her what she was on about, and she gets mad, telling me that she already asked all this and wouldn't have to repeat herself if I had listened. She didn't say it like that, she insulted me, but I don't for the life of me remember what she said. I was too busy trying to figure out why she was talking to me. It takes me a moment to realize she thinks I work there. I politely tell her she is mistaken, we've never spoken, and I do not work here. She tells me she sees me there all the time and she just spoke to me. That she isn't stupid. I told her I didn't think she was, just that she was mistaken. I went to tell her that I'm not even dressed like I work there, but my jacket was in the cart. It's a bomber jacket that gets stupid hot indoors. So you can see my outfit, and I am wearing a sweater vest from my college, a polo, khakis and Timberlands. I kind of do look like I work there. The sweater vest is indeed blue, though not the same blue as the aprons you see around. I point to the team logo on my vest and reiterate that I don't work there and she is mistaken. That's when things go from weird to this woman is insane. Paris pokes her head out of the aisle behind me and asks if I can grab one of the boxes of noodles at the top. The full box is in plastic. The flavor she likes doesn't have enough individual ones for her liking. She's a fan of duck flavor. I apologize and dismiss myself from the lady's presence and go to help Paris. This was apparently a bad move, because watching me help Paris get her ramen, and then grabbing several other things from high shelves pissed the lady off. Keep in mind Paris is like 5 feet 2 inches in wedged shoes. She's like a slightly tall child, to be honest. She starts in at me loud as a banshee, giving me the "I knew you worked here." She starts yelling. Her language is colorful and she seems to have a particular stick up her rear because she thinks I am helping Paris because she's younger and pretty, instead of helping a real woman like her. I must have had a look on my face, because she gives me "I'll have you know plenty of men find me attractive," and said some pretty disparaging things at Paris' expense. My cousin and I aren't all that close. In fact, she's a bit of a spoiled brat and our relationship is contentious at best. She and her sister are usually selfish, big-headed, and disrespectful. I'm not often very fond of her, however. She is my cousin and you best believe you ain't gonna disrespect her in my presence. If I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't let you disrespect her sister London either, and I can't stand her butt. I say, "Look here lady, I understand you're having some kind of identity crisis," gesturing at her outfit. "But I can assure you that I do not work here, my cousin is not some hot girl I'm helping instead of you. We've never spoken before, and despite what the police would have you believe, we do not all look alike." She then accuses me of calling her racist, which I laugh at as she tells me, "I'll have you know that I've dated black guys." Which Paris chimes in, letting her know that she can choke down as many black dicks as she wants and that don't make her not racist. The woman said she doesn't hate black people and we're racist for assuming she does. This pisses off Paris, who tells her she ain't got to hate black people to be racist, just think that being white makes her better or them worse. You ain't gotta hate nobody to treat them different, cause you all up in your own ass. Which, can I have to give her a gold star for? I'll be real, never expected to hear something like that from her. It took a bit, but the commotion finally got the attention of a worker who comes over. He is a black guy, as tall as me, carrying several items in his hands. I cannot express enough how much he looks nothing like me. I turn to midlife crisis and I can see the recognition on her face when she looks at him. He is skinny as sin. I used to be an defensive lineman. I've never been skinny. He immediately asks if there's a problem and starts handing her things, apologizing cause the item she was looking for had been in the area it was supposed to be, just moved from where she remembered it being. Which is code for, you should have took 5 seconds to look around. She is stunned silent for like 2 whole minutes. Like you can see the clockwork going on in her head. She wants to say something, but she keeps looking up trying to figure out how she mistook me for this guy. She shoots Paris a dirty look cause she's giggling like an idiot. Lady wants to say something so bad, but she holds back, to her credit. Her skin reddens like a tomato and her face is like going through emotions. It's like if she was an actress that was told to emote just with her face. Her acting coach would have applauded her cause she was running the gambit. Lots of head nods and everything, like she is having a heated conversation in her head. She then starts stammering. I know she wants to continue this argument, but she's lost all footing cause I step over next to the guy to illustrate how little we resemble each other. Paris is laughing her ass off by now. I look at the guy and say, "Ah, she just confused me for you." I mean, can you blame her? We could be twins. He looked at me funny for a moment and then realized what happened, and gave the look that all black people give each other in these situations, which is basically us thinking, the caucasity. I very politely, but very condescendingly tell the lady, "I'm happy you've found your man and I hope the rest of your day is exceptional." I find being polite is a better FU than saying FU. Paris hit her with a "have a nice day, Karen," with no emphasis on the Karen, and we just walked away. I have to admit, despite our differences, I was very proud of my cousin for that. She's not known for sticking up for anyone. She's kind of spoiled. But I was happy she stood up for me, because I might have said some things most foul if she hadn't. After we left, I took her to get ice cream. She's in her early 20s, but really likes ice cream. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Have an awesome day or night, wherever you are.